Do you ever sit and ask yourself who works the hardest around the sanctuary? No, I'm not. Seriously, this is no joke. But curious, have you ever asked yourself who works the hardest around the sanctuary? The answer will surprise you. On the phone with Facebook, trying to make sure that we, do all of the P's and Q's. Dot the P's and Q's. Dot the I's, cross the T's. What are P's and Q's?
You big doofus. He got the big old smile on his face. What are you doing, Daddy? Right now, he's a little bit concerned that I'm watching him, and he's a little bit embarrassed. We've all gotten that way. How many of y'all feel like you look good in certain angles and positions, but you don't want people to watch you get into those positions? It's kind of like me getting out of the tub. I feel like I can look pretty darn good in the tub. But getting out of the tub, yeah. Or maybe even getting in the tub. I don't know. You probably shouldn't even share that. Hey folks, Lester here. If I appear to look tired, it's because I am. I woke up early this morning and went over and did my morning chores over at Longhorn Lester's. That's because I have a job and a half to do over at I'm a Survivor. I think that we have a really pretty driveway coming up to the house. But with all of the trees, these are those taller trees that grow along the side of the driveway. And around this time of year, they get very heavy with those little seeds. And so those limbs will begin to fall down into the driveway. And every time you drive up with your truck or even Jamie's SUV, you have to kind of scrape through and pass all these limbs. So over here, we have a similar problem. Some of the hedge and the shrubs along here begin to grow out into the driveway. They're reaching out for sunlight. And the problem with that is, as you're coming by with your truck or even with your lawnmower, you literally have to lean over to one side to avoid being, raked off onto the ground. Maybe it's a little bit dramatic, but I'm gonna come by with the trimmers and trim all this up and cut it all back out of the way. Now this right here, friends, this right here is my enemy. This is the stuff that gets me. And there's no way to avoid it. I'm just I'm allergic to it. I don't know what this is. This is the 3-leaf kind of a thing, which means that's probably poison ivy, I'm guessing. But you guys would know more than I would. But I'll tell you what, right now I can stand here fine. But once I start cutting on it, boy, it's going to get into me, and I'm going to be a wreck the rest of the day. But you can see how it looks now, and I'll show you an after picture here in a few minutes. So this is the way it's supposed to look, all trimmed back out of the way. I'm only going up about as high as about 7 or 8 foot, whatever I can reach with the trimmers. So this is the look that we were going for here. Do you want to know that years ago, when I first made the driveway, I planted the same things over on this side. And so what I had was the most beautiful arch. Going up my driveway was like going into a fairy tale, like going into a fairy tale land. But the problem with that is, once they built the church here, people kept coming up my driveway and stopping right around through here. They didn't have a fence at that point. They just had all of this hedge. They would walk through the hedge and they begin to steal all of their copper wiring and their copper pipes from the church. The church also got broken into several times, and it was always from this side of the property, which, even though it was so beautiful for me to have this little fairy tale entrance, the church asked politely would I remove the hedge. And so I agreed, and they came by and cut down all the small stuff, and they did leave my big trees. But I hated to have my driveway be the source of someone to be able to pull into at night and hide out and sit there. And they were robbing the church blinds, took all their equipment. Anyway, this looks a whole lot better, and this is kind of the desired effect. We're not quite done yet. I'll come back with my pole saw and get some of the larger limbs that I can't cut with the hedge trimmer. The person who works the most
and the hardest around the sanctuary is Jamie. Don't ever get that twisted. A lot of people love to pick out their favorite, let's just say, character from this novel of ours. They pick out their favorite character from this novel. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at the same time. They pick out their favorite character and they start trying to build that person's ego by saying how hard and how amazing, how the sanctuary wouldn't be nothing without you. But I'm going to tell you something, and you better hear this. Well, if you really want to truly know the sanctuary, then you should probably know this. The hardest worker around here is Jamie. Listen, not only does Jamie have a full-time job that keeps her going from 8 until 4 or 5 days a week, sometimes even into the weekends, but she also finds time to do all of the paperwork. And you have no idea. Anyone that runs a nonprofit would know this, but there is tons and tons of paperwork, the collecting of receipts, all of the spreadsheet work. I'm gonna stay here in the shade and talk to you for a minute. There is so much paperwork that has to happen to maintain and hold on to the 501c and run it properly. Then on top of that, she manages the social media stuff. She's constantly on the phone with Facebook, trying to make sure that we, do all of the P's and Q's. Dot the P's and Q's, dot the I's, cross the T's. What are P's and Q's? What are P's and Q's? Anyway, Jamie does all of that. She dots the I's, she crosses the T's, and she does the P's and Q's, whatever the heck that even means. Then, on top of that, Jamie does chores. She goes out every afternoon to do all of the watering. If I'm not here, she goes out during the midday to do all of the watering. Jamie makes her own videos. She edits and uploads the same way we all do. And so don't ever, ever, ever start crushing on Jake and saying, oh my God, the sanctuary would be nothing without you. Jake helps out. Jake does help out a couple of hours a day, a few days a week. But Jake gets paid for working. Ben comes down and he works for summertime employment. Ben gets paid for doing a couple of jobs. Lester works. Trust me, I may physically work harder than anybody, but there's no one who actually has more of a workload than what Jamie does. So it's nice to find your favorite character, the one that makes you laugh or smile, or the one you want to sleep with, your secret fantasy, and start saying how, oh my God, the sanctuary was nothing without you. That place would fall apart without you. No, the place would fall apart without Jamie. And don't ever, ever, ever get that twisted. We may make videos of all how hard we work and all the blood, sweat, and tears, but this place would be nothing without Jamie and what she brings to it. So I'm always amazed by what Jamie can pull off and how easily it looks for her, when in fact I know it can't be. All right, time for the next round of driveway trimming. This is the big job. This is going to be the pole saw. Right there is a problem, but not so bad with this pole saw. Give me a couple of seconds here. How freaky does that look? Copper. Well, I'm cutting limbs, Copper. And what are you doing, Copper? I'm going to lay in the pond for a while, just to cool off. Copper has different spots around the pond where he lays that can sort of remind you of, that's probably where he's going right there. It reminds you of one of those bed mattresses, the memory foams, and that he already has that spot right there molded for his body. And so right now he's a little bit concerned that I'm watching him, and he's a little bit embarrassed. You know, we've all gotten that way. How many of y'all feel like you look good in certain angles and positions, but you don't want people to watch you get into those positions? It's kind of like me getting out of the tub. I feel like I can look pretty darn good in the tub, but getting out of the tub, yeah, or maybe even getting in the tub, I don't know. I know you probably shouldn't even share that. There's Copper's memory foam right there. Ah, yeah. Heaven, baby, heaven.
Now if that damn guinea would just shut his mouth. Sorry, Copper.
Look at Kim's goats. Kim's goats are like our goats. They're begging for this stuff. This is what they live for. Here, babies, here. A lot of people don't understand that. You might have goats who live off grass, and goats can survive off the grass. But they, 100%, if they had a choice, would go for stuff like this. Except for this one over here. Sam's a little bit weird. He just goes for wire. That's how tough he is. He's a ram, y'all. He's a little ram. And he feels a little bit less of a ram because his horns never came in. But if they did, he'd be a tough ram. Remember how I told y'all that pretty face wasn't gonna last long? It's gone.
All right, so what I'm gonna do now is use a tractor to push all these limbs into a pile, and I'll throw them over for the goat.
And now my favorite part of the entire limb cleaning experience. Y'all ready for this? Come on, littles! Let's go! Come on, babies! See, they had no idea I was out here working. Come on, littles! They're like, what? What, are you gonna feed us after all? Here they come. Like a hungry horde of zombies. Look at them. Here comes the old man. Come on, buddy. We got some good green stuff over here. Oh, he has to scratch first. He has an itch, everybody. We gotta take care of that itch before I can eat, Daddy. All right, well, the babies definitely enjoy the days I clean up the driveway. The pigs, the alpaca, even the geese come by and nibble on things. I want you to look how nice everything looks now, though. Look, these babies have filled their bellies full, and there's still a few leaves left over. But everything looks really pretty. I'm not gonna walk all the way down. I'm exhausted. But there you go. That's kind of a little bit of a glimpse of how nice everything can look with a little bit of sweat. And I know the babies sure do appreciate it.